This video has words in A, B. Shereen, what is the first thing that comes in your mind when I say the word abrasive or abrade?
Are you abrasing someone?
You mean you're embracing, hugging someone, right? No, you're not hugging, you're going away because that person is abrasive. Abrasive means he's so sharp, harsh. So if a person has a abrasive personality, he shows little concern for the feelings of others and he will be harsh, okay? I don't like your abrasive and arrogant personality, Rio. Don't be harsh to me. And basically, abrasive is a hard surface that is used for polishing by rubbing against it, okay? You see, Daddy used to say about the salt paper, right? Or the tree barks. The trees are abrasive to touch, all right? And yeah. Also, abrade, abrasive or abrasion means the process of scraping or wearing away something. For example, a metal or a skin, okay? For example, we say, Mommy, I bruised my skin, which means you just get, you don't, blood doesn't, scraped, the skin is not scraped away, but still from a heavy blow, you get a kind of red patches. But abrasion is like your skin is scraped away, all right? There were some abrasions on her hand, or the metal is resistant to abrasion, which means the metal will not be erode away. Yes. It will be always polished. It will not be, what do you call, rusted.
Yes.
Shereen, what is the first thing that comes in your mind when I say the word abrest?
Abrest? You're resting somewhere?
No, you should not rest. You have to keep upgrading your knowledge, okay? For example, not to fall, its meaning is not to fall behind, alright? So, for example, it is very important for the young persons to keep abreast of political development of the country, which means you have to upgrade side by side with the other things. You have to update yourself with what? The political knowledge. Rio, when you grow up, you have to keep abreast of development, okay? So basically, keep abreast of us, like you have to update with the latest news. We learned just about the keep abreast of, but basically the single word abreast means walking side by side or parallelly, okay? For example, the path was wide enough for two people to walk abreast. Or in some other roads, it was 3 or more abreast. The road was filled, which means there were only two people who can walk in a row or side by side. Shereen, what is the first thing that comes in your mind when I say the word abridge?
Abridge is a bridge.
No, it's not a bridge. Bridge is usually long, right? But abridge is the opposite of long. It could be short, right? Because shortening or decreasing is the meaning of abridge. Shortening a book, a film or speech, etc. without losing the sense. It's like the abstract, okay? This is an abridged text of his speech, which means it's an abstract of a speech. And also in the law, decreasing a right or a privilege. For example, even the right to free speech can be abridged, which means it can be decreased. Shereen, what is abroad?
It goes like you're going far away.
Yeah, basically abroad is not in your native place. You're crossing over the sea, and for going in abroad, you need a passport and a valid passport to stay there, right? Because it's not your native place. But do you know abroad has another meaning, which means freely moving around in different directions and in a over a wide area. Especially it is suitable for, Shereen, turn on the lights please. Especially it is suitable for a person, a thing, or an emotion, or a strong emotion or feeling, okay? The Christmas spirit was abroad, means it's in the air, it's everywhere, freely moving. And also the hospital inmates abroad on the streets of the town, which means they are freely moving about, okay? And the millions of seeds are annually scattered abroad widely, means in different directions over a wide area, freely. Shereen, what is the first thing comes in your mind when I say the word abrogate?
Aggravate?
What is aggravate?
Aggravation is like two meanings. One is you're aggravating a farm, and another thing is angry.
Okay, you're increasing the anger. That's what. Can you believe that to cancel or telling something is not valid, you put a gate? Because abrogate is to cancel or to declare something not valid, invalidate, okay? A proposal, especially a law, right, or formal agreement, okay? A proposal to abrogate, to invalidate or to cancel. A proposal to abrogate temporarily the right to strike. Shereen, what do you understand when I say the word abrupt?
Abrupt? Maybe you're running so fast it's quick.
No, it's not flowing smoothly, or it's sudden and unexpected, or it could be called as like jerky. For example, I was surprised by the abrupt change in your character. It's like a sudden change, and your daddy applied the brake abruptly, so I fell down and hit my head. Okay, those things are called abrupt, like you're not smooth, unexpected and sudden. But there's another meaning for abrupt, which means you're harsh and very briefly saying the answer to a point of rudeness. Okay, it's like you're being harsh and unfriendly. For example, your daddy was so abrupt with you today. So I asked your daddy, you were rather abrupt with Shereen today. Why? Which means you're unfriendly and harsh, terse. Shereen, do you know pimple? Do you know what is an abscess?
Is it a variety of pimples?
Huh?
A variety of pimples?
Yeah, no, abscess is like a very huge sized pimple. It's like a swollen area within the body tissue containing an accumulation of pus, okay? Once an abscess bursts, they usually discharge for several days before gradually healing up. For example, people have neck abscess, tooth abscess, and there are treatment for abscess also available. Shereen, what do you mean by abscond? Abscond.
Abscond?
Yeah.
Is it a Muslim word?
Why? Why do you say so?
Sounds like that.
No, abscond means escape, okay? For example, we can say the thief absconded with the wigs taken from the restaurant, which means the thief escaped. But typically, abscond is a word used when you escape from custody or to avoid arrest, okay? For example, the charges of absconding from the bail, while on bail, he was actually allowed, but he is not allowed to escape, allowed to roam around during the period, but he is not allowed to go somewhere else, but he absconded. Shereen, what do you understand when I say the word abseil?
Abseil?
Yeah. You're sailing somewhere, right? But it is like you're sailing down a rock, because abseil means descend a rock face or other near vertical surface by using a double rope coiled round the body and fixed at a higher point. For example, when someone got trapped bottom of the rocky hill, the team members had to abseil down sheer cliffs to reach and rescue the couple. What is the meaning of absent?
Absent?
Yeah.
You're not present.
Yes.
Opposite of present.
Yeah, when I say absent-minded, which means you have a lack of concentration, right? And Shereen, I'm finding a lack of, like a total absence of facial expression. Why is it? Total absence of facial expression means you're not concentrating, right? And in my absence, do not take baby anywhere outside, all right? Do you know what is absenting yourself from?
You're taking yourself away?
No, I think Sumati auntie is going to come. I think you need to absent yourself from home in the evenings, because it is, it's kind of escape, okay? Because it is advisable for you to absent yourself during her visit. She asks too many questions. Shereen, in your school, the teacher asks, who are the absentees? What does that mean?
No, absent persons.
Yeah, and they follow absenteeism, which means they are regularly absent themselves to the school or the workplace. Shereen, do you know what is an absinthe? It is a sin to drink absinthe, because absinthe is a green aniseed flavor liquor originally made from the shrub called woodworm. Okay, it's a sin to drink the absinthe. Shereen, what is the meaning of absolute? It's an absolute bliss. What does it mean?
It is a correct bliss.
No, it's a complete. Okay, it's nothing left. Complete bliss. Absolute means complete. And there's something called absolutism, where all the powers should be vested to one person, like the king, okay? But we don't practice it. Absolutist is a person who practices absolutism. Absolutists get often irritated when nothing, because he wants every power to be himself. But we do. Right now in this democracy, we don't have such things. We have the center and the state, which means we have different powers to different people, not the king or not a single person holding all the powers. No. We don't follow the absolutism now. Shereen, what do you understand by absolve and absolution?
Absolve, you're solving something, and absolution.
Yeah, you're solving your problems, because a solution, you're getting a solution. Like absolve is basically a forgiveness from your sins, okay? Usually in churches, they used to give absolution from, especially in the RC churches, okay. She asked the bishop to absolve her sins, okay. And also basically it's forgiving or declaring someone free from guilt, obligation or punishment. The pardon absolved them of any crimes by the judicial. Absolution from the sentence. Shereen, you know absorb is like absorbing the absorption by the vacuum cleaner, right?
Yes.
Or just like absorbing the liquid things. And absorbent kitchen paper absorbs, it soaks up all the liquid, right?
Yeah.
That is absorbent. Do you know the self-absorption? Not only the liquid absorption, the self-absorption is like she got absorbed in the book, or she is absorbing the information in silence, right? And also there is another thing, that take control of a small or less powerful thing and make it as a part of a bigger, larger one. The family firm, the family factory was absorbed into a larger group, which means it's been gone into control of a larger group, okay? Shereen, what is the first thing that comes in your mind when I say the word abstain?
Abstain, you're staining something?
Yeah, you're staining your dress with alcohol basically, because abstain means refrain or keeping yourself away from drinking alcohol, okay? Most pregnant women abstain or drink very little. If you don't, if it is nothing mentioned, it is simply refraining from alcohol, but it can be used for other things also. Like if you keep yourself from doing or enjoying something, you can say that she intends, like you intend to abstain from playing before the examination, right? Which means you avoid yourself doing that, right? And it also used in voting, because formerly decline. The process of voting is also called as abstain. For example, if you don't vote either for the party or against a proposal, it will be considered as abstain. Like 262 voted against and 38 abstained, which means they neither voted for this or that. They did not, they pressed something, which means they don't vote for anybody else. Abstainer means a monk who doesn't indulge in anything. Shereen, what is the first thing that comes in your mind when I say the word abstemious?
Abstemious?
Abstemious.
You're taking steam above stairs?
Yeah, because steam is good, so you don't do anything which is too luxury or too enjoyable. Steam kind of good things, normal things you are doing. Basically, abstemious is indulging only very moderately in something, especially food and drink. Shereen, we have a party and we only had a bottle. Then you can come and say, what? Only one bottle of juice? You're very abstemious, which means you're very, self-disciplined, or you're very moderate. You're not indulging into the party, or you're not indulging too much into anything. So they might think that, oh, she seems to have led an abstemious life. Shereen, what is the meaning of abstinence? What comes in your mind?
Abstinence.
Abstinence is just like abstain, okay? The practice of refraining or restraining oneself from indulging in something, typically alcohol or any other inappropriate things, okay? So it is like, I started drinking again after 6 years of abstinence, which means I kept myself away from alcohol, and then I indulged into that activity. You can also say I started watching videos after 2 weeks of abstinence, because as promised to my mom. What do you understand when I say the word abstract? You're acting, no, you're not acting in long. Yes, you're acting not in long but in short, because abstract is briefing without losing the meaning. Like what is abstract of Bharadika, which means you're telling in short, but you're not losing its original story, the main meaning. And the other meaning of abstract is it's not practical or not realistic. It is existing in thoughts as ideas but not existing as events. For example, you can say the abstract concepts like love and beauty, and it is an abstract work of art, because that art is not realistic, it is not impractical, it's just their thoughts. And the third meaning of abstract is extract, okay? And it is like extracting things. To extract water from stream, you can say to abstract water more water from stream. And also it is sometimes used euphemistically to indicate that someone stolen something, someone has extracted something illegally. So, but euphemistically with a polite manner. So you can say his pockets contained all he had been able to abstract from flat. Abstract here means to steal, but they don't say it in a harsh way, in the real way. They say it more polite euphemistically. This also includes abstraction of metal from ore. I mean, you're extracting. So abstract means extraction, and extraction is you're withdrawing from whatever is already present in that person. So in human it can be taken as withdraw. So you can say, as our relationship deepened, you seem to abstract yourself, like you seem to withdraw yourself, which means you are you're in a state of preoccupied mind, or you're like very absent-minded. So you can also say she sensed his momentary abstraction, which means he's so absent-minded. His abstraction here is absent-minded, like he's withdrawn. What do you understand when I say abstruse?
Abstruse. Truth.
Truce means what?
Peace.
But abstruse means it's difficult to understand the piece. No, it's difficult to understand, basically. It's unclear, okay? When you say it is an abstruse movie, or it's a very unclear movie, it is an abstruse idea to understand, which means it's a very unclear, a hard, difficult to understand idea. It's an abstruse idea, it's an abstruse philosophy. Hard to understand. Shereen, what do you understand by absurd?
Absurd. Inappropriate.
Yes, very inappropriate, illogical. Okay, when you say that, I say don't speak absurd, right? And it is also has another sense of meaning, which means it's a very ridiculous, insensible thing. For example, short skirts and knee socks look absurd on such a tall person, which means it's not inappropriate, it is like very funny, ridiculous way. All right, so absurd is like very inappropriate, illogical, as well as ridiculous. Shereen, what do you understand when I say abundant?
Abundant.
Yeah.
Abandoned.
Not abandoned, it's abundant.
Abandoned. Sound like abandoned.
We have abandoned mangoes, which means it's huge or great, okay? So abandoned is basically, we can also say the river bank was abundant in beautiful wild plants, which means it's excessive, it's huge, abundant in numerous amount. Shereen, what do you understand when I say abuse?
Abuse. Child abuse.
Basically, abuse is three senses. One is verbal abusing, physical abusing, and another is misusing your power. Okay, verbal abusing is the first thing I'm going to say. It's like sometimes I being abusive mother, right? Here I become abusive because I speak in an insulting and an offensive way, right? For example, the referee was abused by players, and Shereen has sometimes been abused by mother. And the physical abusing means you're violently treating and harming your body, okay, especially on a regular basis, but mostly it involves sexual assault. Young people who suffered abused for long years, and he has been abusing his body for years, and not only for persons and also for animals. If they are treated cruelly or with violence, especially regularly or repeatedly, riders who abuse their horses should be punished. And that kid is a victim of physical abuse. And the third meaning for abuse is like unjust or corrupt practice, protection against fraud and abuse. Here abuse means misusing the power, okay? The judge abused his powers. We know abetting is like you're being close and helping a person in wrongdoing. But abut is your adjacent. Here abut, this bridge is abutting this two-tooth, which means it's adjacent. It's a common border, or it's a neighbor to the two tooths. It's a common border in one sense. The second sense, it's a neighbor. Yeah, the compound wall abuts our neighbor house, which means it's belonging as a in a common boundary, or it is like touching. And also, abutment is the process of supporting something with an abutment. Okay, efficient abutment is needed at this point in the dental treatment because the two teeth are like without support, so you need to have a support. Shereen, what is the first thing when you hear comes in your mind when I say abysmal? Abysmal.
Abysmal?
Yeah.
Miss?
What miss?
Some miss.
And she's a bad miss because abysmal informally means extremely bad. Okay, the quality of her work is abysmal, means it's very bad. Rio, he's ignoring me, and it's very bad ignorance. It's an abysmal ignorance. Okay, but in literary, when you say abysmal, it means very deep. For example, abysmal depths means it's not very bad depth. Yes, it's a very bad deep, very deep depth. What do you understand by abyss? Abyss is like biscuit. No, it's not something that you eat. It's something that you eat and you go very down into the earth, into the hell, because abyss is the region of hell conceived as a bottomless pit, Satan's dark abyss, or basically abyss is a bottomless pit, a rope let down into the dark abyss. It could also be a catastrophic or a sudden great damage or suffering situation that is likely to occur. That can also be called as abyss. A total political abyss caused a political wipeout, or it is a very great difference between people. Abyss between the two nations, which means a huge difference. Abacus is a oblong frame with rows of wires or grooves along which beads are slid and used for maths calculations. The abbreviation AB is antibody, or it is AB blood group. Or ab informally means abdominal muscles.